Okay, as I noted in my written description and my intro video, I'm here to teach you about your government. I had not expected to, have to begin this way. First, let me explain what I'm after here. When I was in high school, we had to study history. World history, U.S. history, New Mexico history. We also had to study government. And we had to take a course called civics, which is basically your obligations and rights as a citizen. How to be a good citizen, what the government can't do to you. Now, I didn't intend the initial civics lesson to be like this, but, well, last night's events sort of forced my hand. Here's the deal. If you watched President Obama's address last night, you noticed that a Republican representative, South Carolina's Joe Wilson, a Republican, as I mentioned, heckled him. Heckled him during a joint session of Congress, which is just not done. It's a breach of decorum. It's also really impolite and embarrassing since the speech was going out to a global TV audience. Kind of sucked. Could have been worse though. As Congressman Wilson should know, being a member of the House, the Sergeant at Arms is supposed to maintain order. Sergeant at Arms is the guy that carries an ebony and silver mace, which he can use to maintain or restore order. What you literally could have seen last night, had Nancy Pelosi ordered him to do so, was a congressman being threatened with a medieval weapon. Asinine. But still, technically, we could have done it. The guy was pretty rude. Congressman Wilson, to his credit, has since apologized. Thank you very much. But still, echoes of a very troubled past. Bad things can happen when ego gets in the way of parliamentary procedure. Let me explain by telling you a story here. On the 19th of May, 1856, obviously things were tense. Civil War had kind of a wind-up, ramp up to it. 19th of May, 1856, Massachusetts Senator Charles Sumner, an abolitionist Republican, made a speech concerning the question as to whether Kansas should enter the United States as a free state, where slavery is illegal, or a slave state. In that speech, he accused South Carolina Senator Andrew Butler of, quote, taking a mistress who, though ugly to others, is always lovely to him, though polluted in his sight of the world, is chaste in his sight, the harlot slavery. And Senator Butler wasn't there to take offense, but he needn't have worried. His nephew, South Carolina Congressman Preston Brooks, was there. And I guess he decided that this Massachusetts fellow was a Yankee dog because he chose a gutta percha cane of the sort used to discipline dogs back then. And it had a solid gold head. On the 22nd, 3 days after the speech, he walked from the House chamber to the Senate chamber at the end of the day, after they had adjourned, walked up to Senator Sumner, who was signing envelopes containing the offending speech. In the United States, you can use your signature in lieu of a stamp if you're a congressman or a senator. and he proceeded to beat Senator Sumner with the gold head of his cane for a full minute. The attack was so savage that when Senator Sumner took refuge under his desk, Congressman Brooks continued to beat him until he had ripped the desk from the floor to which it was bolted. He then calmly walked out. The stunned onlookers carried the wounded senator off. 3 years later, the senator returned. You're wondering what would happen to Preston? What happened to Preston Brooks? Turns out not a damn thing. They had an expulsion vote, which he survived, and he promptly resigned his congressional seat and was reelected. Because the people of South Carolina thought that that was just a great thing. In fact, the paper in Richmond praised it as good in execution, good in thought, better in execution, best in result. Unfortunately, Preston Brooks' luck ran out the next year. He died at a croup. But the situation aggravated Northerners and Southerners alike and helped precipitate the Civil War. Knowing South Carolina history, as I'm assuming that Congressman Wilson does, you would think that he would have known better than to interrupt the president. But at least he didn't hit him with the cane.